As I am sure many of you know, Brazil's people and its government have been at odds with one another.
You don't say.
Culminating into the events of the last few weeks. This latest mistrust can be dated back, from what I can see, since the election of 2022, where Lula da Silva supposedly won.
El ejército callado y las calles llenas de nuevo este sábado con gente pidiendo una auditoría a las elecciones, pidiendo que se evite la llegada de un hombre condenado por la justicia por corrupción y lavado de dinero al poder, y sobre todo pidiendo la remoción del ministro Moraes, Alexandre de Moraes, como presidente del Tribunal Electoral, Superior Electoral del país.
There is a name that has been mentioned in this clip that will become very relevant in a moment, but before that, let's take a look at the main issue that's kicked everything off. Brazilians rally to protest Supreme Court judge's decision to ban X. Demonstrators say ruling by Alexandre de Moraes, if that's how you say it, is an unconstitutional assault on free speech.
All true.
That's right, in the biggest attack on free speech since the military dictatorship pre-1981, the government of Brazil, along with its judicial allies, have removed the biggest free speech platform in the world, citing this is all due to Musk not appointing a legal representative to speak on behalf of X Twitter. That this is supposedly what triggered the ban.
That doesn't even make sense.
Completely ignoring, of course, that the previous representative was threatened with imprisonment and confiscation of assets.
Bad! They're all bad!
Now, a name was mentioned in this clip that was instrumental in upholding the judgment to ban X Twitter. Alexandre de Moraes, not sure if I pronounced that correctly, but considering what a f***tard this guy is, I shall from this point forward refer to him as the Brazilian Lex Luthor.
Well, I don't know what you thought you heard out there, but I know what you can prove, and it's nothing.
So, Lex is the man essentially who upheld the decision to keep X Twitter banned, in the name of democracy, of course. He said, and I quote, "We have a right to defend fundamental rights. Those who violate democracy, who violate fundamental human rights," he said fundamental twice, but whatever, "whether in person or through social media, must be accountable." Doesn't this sound like someone else we know? I mean, this section of his statement should have the additional sentence of, "as long as we agree with them."
Agreed?
But let's be real, there is no defense of democracy here. Brazil has had a long history of corruption. What those in power hate is a self-made billionaire owning a platform that 20% of their population use regularly and have no control over. Elon has already made it clear that his platform doesn't violate laws or is not intended to violate laws.
In order for X to be the public square of the world, it's really got to be a free speech platform. Now, that doesn't mean people can say illegal things. It's free speech within the bounds of the law, but not going further than the law for a particular country.
And as Tim Young says, it's kind of scary. There are lots of free speech laws coming up around the world, and it's the beginning of a slippery slope of the end of free speech.
You know, a lot of times these governments that want to restrict free speech, and I think it's been pretty consistent throughout history, when they want to restrict free speech, they're the ones putting out the disinformation that they claim is out in the ether.
And I don't need to tell you he's absolutely right, of course. This is something that the elites that govern all our nations, doesn't matter where you are in the world, all our nations have been planning for some time. A certain US candidate for the presidency this year had so much glee at the idea of a former president being banned from Twitter 4 years ago that she couldn't help but voice that glee.
That he has lost his privileges and it should be taken down. And the bottom line is that you can't say that you have one rule for Facebook and you have a different rule for Twitter.
Yes you can. It's called private enterprise, but whatever.
The same rule has to apply, which is that there has to be a responsibility that is placed on these social media sites to understand their power. They are directly speaking to millions and millions of people without any level of oversight or regulation, and that has to stop.
A little taste of what her government will bring to my American friends. But in terms of things happening on this side of the pond, Starmer is just waiting to ban X Twitter, citing the riots, no doubt, and the protests that happened only a few weeks ago as the main reason that X should be banned to protect democracy, just like Brazil's doing. Lindsay Hoyle, The Speaker of the House has been saying the same false rhetoric as Brazil.
Misinformation is dangerous. Social media is good, but it's also bad when people are using it in a way that could cause a riot, threats, intimidation, actually suggesting that we should attack somebody, is not acceptable. But what we've got to do is make sure it's factually correct what's up there. If not, I think the government have really got to think long and hard about what they're going to do with social media and what are they going to put through Parliament as a bill to act. And I believe it should be across. It doesn't matter what country you're in. The fact is that misinformation is dangerous, and no misinformation or threats or intimidation should be allowed to be carried out on social media platforms. They should be for good, not for bad.
Let's not also forget you have US media, UK media, and others all wishing and clapping it along. They never think it'll happen to them. They don't think they could be affected by this. Once you give power to a despot, when do they ever give it up outside of bloody revolution? There is a verse that will always be relevant that I wish to end with, though not spoken by me.
First, they came for the communists, and I did not speak out because I was not a communist. Then they came for the socialists, and I did not speak out because I was not a socialist. Then they came for the trade unionists, and I did not speak out because I was not a trade unionist. Then they came for the Jews, and I did not speak out because I was not a Jew. Then they came for me, and there was no one left to speak out for me.
Thank you all for watching, and as always, do take care and God bless.